All right, hello everyone, and welcome to another Visions of War. This one we're going to be going over top 10 basic defenses for the everyday player to be able to put down. This is, newer players that are just having these people unlocked to possibly veteran players that just go full on an offense, which is kind of where I sit. These are teams that, older teams that I've built up plus newer stuff that's coming out. They're going to have some fun war bonuses. We have a new war rules coming out on the 3rd of June, as you can see on the screen there. It's going to be Season 5. This is giving Hero Spider-Verse allies and City Hero allies big boosts on war defense. And it's giving Mercs for money your boosts on offense. Alpha Flight is also going to see a boost on defense, but that's for later on because it really needs the 5-piece of Alpha Flight to be able to really get the extra 20% to all stats. It's going to make it just a horrible team to go against on war defense. With me today, I've got Vanderpants, also known as Crayon Eater. How you doing today, bud?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Just holding down that mantle strong as the Titans crown muncher.
That's true. That's true. I don't think anybody's really going for it, but you're definitely holding it down, so we're fine. So this infographic you see on the screen is done by my lovely wife, Sable. She put that together for us. It is available on my Discord if you'd like to go look at it. If you want a message to you, just PM me and we can message it to you too. If you want it done that way, it's easy enough. This is going to be, as you're watching it right now on YouTube, so please like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Like I said, this is going to be top 10 basic. Pretty much every player that's around, I would say, level 60 now is going to be able to have, because the tunes really are pretty easily farmable at a newer player level than they were before.
I mean,
Yeah, and you're able to get to some of these, like even the ones that are Scourge, only kind of tunes. You can actually get to those pretty easy as well. And so, yeah. So anyways, without further ado, we're going to go into probably the number 10. So this is going to be two of the teams that are just kind of leftover stuff that we're not really using on offense that we're putting down on defense. And so for the first one of those, it's going to be this team of X-Men here. So we see Rogue Phoenix. Phoenix is an older character that's pretty beefy. She removes all the debuffs from everybody and then puts them on herself. We got Gambit with his passive pings, Magic, which brings back Phoenix later on in the fight, and Sunspot, which is a battery for everybody. It puts some ability blocks, some big damage out, defense down, stuff like that for them to really do some big damage. Rogue is a Scourge character, so a little harder to get than the other ones, but she's, those Scourges come around pretty often now, so you're able to get to it as quickly as you can. It's at your pace, how you're playing this. If you're going for APOC, you're going to have her leveled up pretty good too, so it's a good spot to put her. As you can see, ISOs there. I have Phoenix as a fortifier because really there's nothing to put on her. She loses it when she becomes Dark Phoenix, so you don't really have to worry about the ISO. I like her to live a little longer. That's why I gave her fortifier. Skirmisher for Gambit, just to make sure those ability blocks stick. And then Striker for Magic and Striker for Sunspot, just because you want the big damage to come from them with their charges and stuff. I have Rogue as a striker, but that's because that's what I used her for in the APOC saga. You can always put her as a skirmisher too. She does some good damage, and definitely landing all those debuffs if you have her at low stars is what you want to do. So skirmisher makes sense as well. So, Vandy, how would you go about beating this team?
honestly, just anything with Kestrel.
You said Kestrel?
Just you're shutting down the Phoenix. I mean, Pegasus could beat Unlimited X-Men already.
Right.
Because they've got so many defensive buffs, so they can withstand that Gambit. Yes, it gets a little hairy when you're facing some of those really big, like 2-3 diamond Gambits. But for your average player, you've already got your raid team built. Throw Pegasus at it.
And somebody might underestimate this team and go in with a Pegasus that's lower, thinking that they're still getting the hero cosmic buffs next war season.
That's
and if
true.
they do that, and if you do get some good hits from Gambit, if they knock her down early, Rogue goes for her, stuff like that, then you have a possibility of being able to get the win on that. So, yeah, Pegasus would be a good choice to be able to beat this. But It's leftover characters you're not using on war offense, so why not, right? So the next team on the list is more of those leftover, goodies that we have from X-Men. And we have some that are getting some buffs coming out that's going to be part of Alpha Flight. That last one I just like to call, Rogue's X-Men. Thanks for the the raid there, Mongoli. So with this next one, it's going to be more of the leftover X-Men that we have. That one was Rogue's X-Men. This one is a little bit different. This is a Forge with Wolverine. And this one I like to call Extreme Alpha. Alpha Men, there we go. So we've got Wolverine putting bleeds. Remember, bleeds are going to be turning into regenerations in this war season. We have Nightcrawler. It's going to be doing unavoidable damage on his ult, which is crazy. We have Cyclops, which is going to be doing an AoE right off the bat, doing big damage. Firestorm is going to be also doing an AoE right off the bat with big damage. And depending on where the health is for the people, Forge is going to do either 2 moves really quickly, or he's going to be doing a special right off the bat. So I have Raider on Wolverine now because that's what he's going to be using in Alpha Flight, same as Sunspot. Nightcrawler, I have Striker, but you can always put Raider on Nightcrawler as well. Forge, I like Healer. I know all the Whales and Krakens like to put Striker, but that's not where I go. I like Healer. Then Cyclops is a Raider just because of the huge crit damage that he does. He's pretty amazing. So the Nightcrawler filling that void of having the Striker is going to be, what gets you double taps as you go. So, Vandy, if you're going to fight this, what are you going to beat it with?
I hate to do it because it's going to feel like I'm always having to punch down. Doc 6. Anytime I see Gambit Forge together, that's my most consistent counter.
Most consistent. Doc 6.
Yep.
So why Doc 6? What are you using Doc 6 for?
I prefer to use it elsewhere. But you've got to slow down the Forge and Nightcrawler combo. And if the best way to do that is with Green Goblin Classic. And then you then Mysterio to throw out the blinds. Shit. I don't know. It's good. X-Men, I don't have much experience outside of Unlimited and Extreme, to be honest, because I'm too new of a player. So this one's actually going to make me scratch my head a little bit.
Okay, well, that's what we want. I think Doc 6 might actually be okay because it goes on with slows, which is going to, slow them down quite a bit. If you can't take this team out the first go, though, we're going to have the Alpha Flight members coming back with regeneration due to the war rules that we have this war round. So that's a little different. But yeah, it's a fun team to use. People who aren't using it on offense. So throw it up there, see what you get. Who knows? You might hook a big one. So next team we're going to go into is a little different. We're going away from X-Men now, finally. This is a team that he had mentioned before that I like to put on defense. But, I mean, if you do have it on offense, I do understand. And that is Pegasus. Pegasus is a defensive team. It's got a couple of counters, but if things don't right or they don't have the right T4s in a couple of those counters that I'm sure Vandy's going to bring up, then those assists don't happen. It doesn't reduce rescue enough that you can then take her out and she either heals everybody up or she brings somebody back. And then you're in for some trouble. So I have a healer on rescue. I've got Striker on Kestra. I know a lot of people put Raider. I got Skirmisher on Iron Man, and that's because of raids. Because in raids, you can't get any of his stuff to stick, so I had to put Skirmisher. Same with Ironheart. And then big damage coming with the crits from Darkhawk, and he's the one you got to watch for in this match. So who would you use to beat this there, Bandy?
I'm still going Cabal Eternals. It seems like the bigger you build the Pegasus, the more Cabal Eternals can punch up on it. It's the weirdest dynamic. You were struggling against this, so I decided to throw more into my rescue and make her even larger, and then you beat it easier, which blew my goddamn mind.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking with that. It's tried and true.
So now Cabal, if you don't have T4s in some of their abilities, they won't assist as much. And if you don't have the striker put on all three of them, they won't get double and triple taps. And if you're not getting those, you're not going to bring this team down far enough, and you're going to end up losing with that, which is what I want as a defensive player. And it's not what you want on offense, that's for sure, because once you see Rescue take that churn and you haven't taken her out, you're like, oh crap, this is going to go sideways real quick.
Yeah. I was actually surprised at how many people built Cabal to the damn moon. I vastly underestimated how many people went hard on them for that pocket dimension with mediocre rewards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you look at the leaderboard for the Old Man Logan trial.
Right. Well, I mean, they're proven true. Cabal's a pretty dang good team. Don't put it on defense. It's not a defensive team. Only do that if you are thick on offense, like super thick on offense, or you don't have teams necessary to put there, or if your offense, your alliance is clearing something so quick that you're only getting 1 or 2 attacks in.
Or if you're a Canadian working in a culinary school, but
that could be too. I mean, if you had certain skills, then I mean, there's a possibility of putting that on defense. Yeah,
like 88 skills to be exact.
Yeah, something like that. All right, so next team that we have on the docket for today. This is a goodie. This is something that we've been putting in. It does get some wins. It does have some certain counters, but it's going to go down in value a little bit this war because we don't have hero cosmic buffs anymore. And that's going to be the Dormammu Asgard. So no longer will we have the cosmic hero buffs come next season. So that sees a big loss in power from everybody but Dorm in this team. So that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's good because Dorm now is going to be the focus of this team rather than being the one that everybody kind of beats on when you're having Undying hit it. But it's a bad thing as well because Val's not going to be as strong. So having Val be that last person standing might not always happen. So we'll see how it goes. But for right now, I'm not using any of them on offense. I do use Dorm in a couple of accounts. So I just put straight Asgard on there, but in this one I don't need Dorm on offense at all, so I'm putting him on defense. And you can see the ISO I have here: Skirmisher on Valkyrie to land the ability block, Striker of course on Val because she does crazy damage, and then you got Mighty Thor and Beta Ray Bill also as raiders because they do AoEs right off the bat, which do major damage. I have Dormammu as a raider, and that's because I haven't hit the button to make it so you stick the ISOs, and I've been playing around with Raider on Dormammu for Arena. I use him in Arena. It's something I've been doing for a little while, and it works for me pretty well. So I did have Skirmisher, I did have Striker, and now we're going with Raider, but I think no matter what you have, if you don't want to lock it, it's fine, just live it up. It's going to make it so it's a little different, somebody play with every war. But, Vandy, if you were playing against this, what would you beat it with?
I'm still going with Undying.
Undying?
Yeah, Undying, Emma, and then insert just about anybody. Probably Doom, unless I want to use them somewhere else.
Yeah, hit some use out of Doom, yeah.
I mean, it's my most consistent counter I use. It's tried and true. Kind of like Cabal into Pegasus. It is what it is.
So the fun thing with using Emma with Undying is with Emma, it makes it so that you get to spread and do some big damage before Beta Ray Bill takes his ult. If you don't use Emma, then Beta Ray Bill ults earlier, and so has the chance of taking out your Gila, which at that, or Hello, or however you say her name, but which that is going to destroy your Undying team just altogether as losing her. So yeah, Emma's a good pick with Undying for this team. I do like that.
I'm an Undying stan, so my Hela is 2 diamond at 95.
Yeah, you're not losing her.
Gear 18, she doesn't fall easy.
Yeah. So next on our list is another kind of team that's left over from the past that's now become the present again. And that's because of the buffs that we have this season. And that's going to be Heroes for Hire. Now for this, we've done something a little different. We've taken out the pre-tawny tank and put Firestar there. The reason for this is that city heroes are getting a big boost. So they're going to have extra health. You're going to have also onto some barrier and some other stuff like that. They're going to be flipping bleeds. Your Firestar is going to do huge damage if you have it leveled up. Vandy here has got a Firestar that's at around 700 power. So that does some big damage when it's landing its bleeds on somebody. This order of operations, as far as the layout, I think is the right way to do it. The positioning, and it's if they use Dark Hunters, if you decide, hey, I'm going to chain and give the Disrupted to Luke Cage, then you're losing out on one half of the team. If you use Omega Red and you say, I'm going after Colleen first, you're missing out on getting splash damage on 2 people. You're only getting 1. And if you use it on Shang-Chi because you're one of those people that want to Omega into Shang-Chi, then you're going to lose anyway, so it's fine. But it's interesting layout. And then for the ISOs I put on this, I want mine to triple tap all the time. So I have Colleen as a skirm to give that. When she assists, she's going to give the vulnerable. And then the other 3, I have a striker with Firestar doing big damage with her crits and her opening adjacent attack on people. So, Vandy, if you're going out this, who are you using?
Honestly, with Firestar, it makes this one really tricky because I can't take my Dark Hunters into it. Because I don't know. I've lost track of how many different 5th member heroes for hires I've seen. And Quicksilver, Dormammu, I've seen pre-taunts. It doesn't matter. I drop Mordo for Quicksilver and I kill it anyways. This is going to make it a little different because she is fast. And if she's built by anybody like myself who took her into Dark Dimension 6, she hits like a damn freight truck. And if she can wipe out half of your Dark Hunters right off the rip, that's gone. And I know a lot of the newer accounts have been using Pegasus into Heroes for Hire lately. That ain't going to work. That with Firestar slowing you down, throwing out all those bleeds, it's going to be a nightmare. Gamma, that could get dicey if she's hitting hard enough into your Hulk and you've got Red Hulk next to him. That might drop them both far enough that it doesn't work. Because if Red Hulk goes before he can ult, that's over.
Yeah.
If he goes after he ults, cool. They're still getting that, they're still getting that tick damage every time they take a turn. So that's cool as long as that battlefield effect is out there.
Yeah.
But if it's a beefy,
the trauma,
if it's a 2-diamond Firestar like mine though, hitting in, what is it, in war, I think she's 778k.
Yeah.
I mean, she's hitting pretty dang hard. There's a chance that those bleeds alone can drop Red Hulk before he gets a chance to ult.
Yeah.
This is going to be a Weapon X for me.
And with Firestar, remember, this season coming up, she is a city hero. Even though, she's with New Warriors, she is city and she is a hero. So she's going to be getting those room buffs as well. So pay attention to those when going into them. Because, if she's buffed up and she has barrier, offense up, defense up, like all that stuff, like it's going to be kind of a pain to get through it. So, all right, Weapon X. Weapon X it's got its spot in the sun still. I think with X23, it's a nice team now. I like it.
I love the new mechanics of the team. I've still got to kind of play it out and get a feel for it. But I mean, I punched up into Bifrost a lot bigger than I used to with Wolverine. So I'm pretty stoked with the possibilities of the new team. But yeah, it's going to be Weapon X, and it's going to have to be focus on Misty Knight. You have to ability block her on this one.
Yeah, I might have said her name wrong earlier, but yeah, Misty's the one in the end.
Yeah.
That's the one you want to focus on with Omega Red. Otherwise, you're going to lose this match.
Yeah, if you don't, because then Omega Red's going to be
stunned.
He's going to get ability blocker stunned. And
yeah. It's over.
So it's just get that ability block on her, then you Sabretooth ult into Luke, and then from there it's pretty much try to control and slow down Pauline and Shang-Chi.
Yep.
And hope to God none of them die before their charges disappear. Because that's the big thing with that counter, is if you over damage them,
they die and they come back.
It's very hard if you're not punching up to do that battle.
Yeah, clearing those debuffs is hard. Yeah.
I do think season 5 is going to be another hero for higher nightmare.
Yeah, so if you hear that, Dre, you know who you are. You did the right thing again. All right, so the next one is kind of this is a mixed and mash, mix up, whatever you want to call it from us. This is going to be a Mystic Warrior team, and this is going to be what you see in front of you, New Warriors, Cloak and Dagger, because they are city heroes still, so they are getting those buffs. Dagger sped up by Chavez. Also, you're going to have Sylvie sped up by Chavez, an extra 25%, to be able to land that stun right off the bat. And then Loki, giving all those Mystic heroes a little speed up, because, you know, he's going to be sitting there. And also, if you go after Sylvie, she's going to drop down and go stealth and make your, you know, life a living nightmare from that way. If you decide to put her on an island and she's stealth, then all of a sudden she's going to come through with her AoE. So, yeah, there's just a lot of interesting things with this team. We'll see how it works, but it's something earlier players are going to be able to get their hands on. If you already have Bifrost built up and you're not using them anywhere else, like the team before was Hero Asgard, you know, so they're not there. So if you're not using them, it's somewhere to throw it in on defense. You're not going to use it on offense. They don't do anything. So, and Chavez only has defensive buffs with her thing, so you're not going to use her either. And then defensive buffs for Cloak and Dagger because of the season rules. So we ended up putting, we have Striker on Chavez for a double tap if she does hit, because she does do some big damage if people have buffs and stuff, especially if, you know, she has other city heroes on the board. Loki is a skirmisher just so that defense down lands. We've got Striker on both Cloak and Dagger because they put out their own vulnerables so they can, you know, double tap off of themselves kind of thing, and they do have assist mechanics. And then Sylvie is a raider because if she gets that AoE off, does that big crit damage, then that could be some trouble as well. So, so Vander, you're playing into this. What's your first thought on how to beat this one?
My immediate first thought is I see kind of the core of New Warriors, so I want to lean Underworld, but I want to save them for other things.
It's almost like you're...
But I also see a lot of Mystics ahead. I also see a lot of Mystics on this team, so maybe a Darkhold goes into this, because your MLF is going to be sped up on spawn.
Right.
Maybe with the speed, you can get this with a Death Seed. Maybe if you can land that blind with your Magneto as a skirmisher on Cloak, it doesn't hurt as bad. But the big thing here in positioning, it can be a little dicey, because you got Dagger buffing the damage for both Chavez and Cloak, with her being in between them. Chavez, I think the only caveat I'd say there is you need her T4 passive for that speed boost. Otherwise, you don't need it.
And with Dagger, if you do let her get that second turn, she does some big damage on her ult, so you want to get her out of there as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And a Striker, that's even more damage.
Yep. And then I do see somebody mention, what about a variant of Eternals? I mean, it could, but honestly, I believe that's a waste of your Eternals. They're much bigger teams they can be used at with their speed bar mechanics.
Yeah, we just went over Pegasus, and Eternals with Cabal is amazing counter for Pegasus.
But yeah, especially with city heroes, if they're in the right room with the right buffs, this one might actually outspeed your Eternals because of Loki and Sylvie and Chavez. So that could actually get nasty, and then you've burned your Eternals and you didn't kill it. So
yeah. And remember, all these city heroes are going to be getting, if they're in the right room, offense up, defense up, 30% to their primary stats, 15% barrier. You know, they're going to be getting some fun stuff. So yeah, that's going to be a crazy team to be able to go into.
Yeah, I'm going to say I want to lean heavy on Death Seed if I see this pop up on my opponents.
Death Seed or Darkhold or where you're going with them.
Yeah. And not Quicksilver Hold or any of those, pure Darkhold.
You're Dark.
So that way I've got Quicksilver for other places.
Yep, dig that Scarlet Witch out and put her back in where she belongs and let her do her work.
Yeah. Like, built her up just the bare minimum needed to get an Apocalypse, and that was because she sat on the bench ever since.
Yeah, she Yep. All right, so next team we're going to go into. So this one also is kind of put together from the scraps. This is one that if you're a little mid to late and you have plenty of offense, it's one that you can throw on there. If you're an early game player, you're probably going to want a couple of these on offense. And that's going to be Squirrel Girl with her Young Avengers, with Gwenpool and Tangled. And it's not the Tangled that are part of Spider Society. We'll get to Noir later. This one is just, those of us that had to build Young Avengers earlier on in the game, it's getting use out of those two characters. Those of us that have built Tangled, because 2099 at one point was part of the arena meta, and Crucible meta, then, it gives him a place to go. If you're not using on offense, some of you guys use Undying with Tangled on offense. Fine. If you want to do that. But we're just saying, if you're not using on offense because you have plenty of the offensive counters, like he'd already brought up earlier, Undying with Emma and Doom, and that's an amazing team to be able to use on offense. So they don't really have a place. They've kind of set to the side. And then Gwenpool. Gwenpool, again, here's another city hero. She's going to be good for another season of War. So that's 2 in a row she's been good for. Plus Crucible, they're pretty dang good too. So very useful character. Hopefully you're able to unlock her. Miss Marvel and Squirrel Girl might be ones that earlier players don't have unlocked or leveled up, but some of those mid-game players that have kind of left them on the shelf, they're going to be able to fit into the spot rather nicely. Miss Marvel, when heroes drop below 50, she's going to be able to get that taunt, so you have that. Gwenpool is going to be going, pretty fast out of the gate again. Not as fast as last season, but pretty fast. So she's going to be getting that taunt as well. So you're going to have the 2 over there, and if you happen to hit some splash damage and Weaver and not do damage, she's going to be getting charges, which means she speeds up, she gets her ability, she's able to put charges back on her again. She gets ability energy, so she can put charges back on her again, stun somebody and make it so you can't hit her unless you have unavoidable attacks. Squirrel Girl, meanwhile, is going to be healing up. It's going to be putting, buffs on their team. She's going to be speeding up as well. And then 2099 is just there to speed up Weaver pretty much. So we got Raider on 2099 to put, big crit damage right off the bat. Healer on Squirrel Girl just to keep her alive. Skirmisher on Miss Marvel because she does assists on a hero. So a city hero attacks.
City hero brawler.
Yeah.
I think it's specifically brawlers.
So if they attack, she's going to be doing a little follow-up attack to give you, your triple taps here and there. And then Gwenpool's Rainer, because she's going to be doing big damage. She's a city hero as well again. So she opens up with an ult. And then just to make sure that your taunt lands, or your stun and your trauma lands, Weaver Ever as a skirmisher. Because again, that's what I use in the APOC trials to make sure that stuff landed. So, Vandy, if you're going to this, what are you using?
Underworld. All day, every day.
And why are you using Underworld? What's the key?
Weaver.
As
soon as I see Weaver, I don't care if there's Dormammu on the team, because I know I mind control Weaver. So now she's ability blocked, and she's going to hit somebody. And if she's massive on the team, which you see a lot of, it's overbuilt Weaver because of APOC again.
Yep. And
then everybody else they throw her with is just kind of minimally built. If she drops somebody, even with Dormammu, it's a permakill.
Yep.
So, there's a chance that you can start out and you've already wiped one off the team with their own team. Love that. So,
yeah.
And then all the assists you get. However, I do see some fun possibilities for a defensive theory craft here, because I'm looking up, it's Gwenpool's a brawler, is she not? Or is she a protector?
I think she's a brawler.
Let me look her up. She is a brawler.
Yeah.
So if you swap her to striker, you put, say, Squirrel Girl as a striker. Now you got some double taps there with your Miss Marvel. The other 2 are controller protectors. So, there's no need to change them.
Not doing that. It's a little bit too much for you there. We went ahead and moved the other one, though.
Actually, I don't Yeah, I know she assists Squirrel Girl. So I mean, I have her as both healer from Dark Dimension days and striker from when Young Avengers was on everybody's defense.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's some fun that can be had with this one. Is it going to pull a lot of defensive wins? I don't think so. But it will force somebody's hand on using Underworld for an easy win.
Because I think this might be another one where somebody's going to be, oh, I could just use P-Force and beat this.
Yes.
And not realize that Photon doesn't get the Cosmic Hero bonuses and go on with one that's really small, knowing what they did last season, and be like, oh, crap. I'm not doing the damage as I was before. Even though Spider-Woman's going to do more damage now. Okay, Spider-Woman's, no.
Right.
She's on offense, so she isn't going to do more damage. If she was on defense, she would. So we're good. Never mind. So we're fine. So yeah, no more big damage from Photon. They'll go in with the small one and be like, oh, this is 1.1. I'm going to go with like the 600k 8 force. And all of a sudden Weaver hits somebody and you're like, wait a second. Why did that happen? Oh, shoot. Now I can't hit anybody because they're all charged up. And then they're going to waste an attack. They're going to go in with another one, not realizing that Weaver still gets her charges. And they're like, oh, shoot, I can't hit again. Yeah, this could be one of those that snowballs into a couple of wins if they don't do it right. So
could be a lot of fun too, though. So I mean, that one I can see it being fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take a Weaver team pulling somebody's Underworld as a win because then they can't use that Underworld to beat my Apocalypse of Secret Defenders.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's still a win. It pulled a big top meta team. So in that case, I mean, and this is a team that is easily accessible for a lot of new players.
And if newer players, you might not have your players you're playing against built up Underworld. So if you're in a low war bracket, you put this on D, and they don't have Underworld, they don't have something to really take this out in one shot. You could get 4 or 5 wins off of this thing really easily.
Yeah, and I mean, and this is a team that my 5-month-old learner account could do right now.
Yep.
So
easy to farm early.
Big volumes. Yep.
All right. Well, that team did pretty good. We're going to go on to the next, see what it is. So this next one, I mean, this has become kind of a staple to see on defense now. Not used on offense almost at all. Maybe one of the tunes used on offense, but the rest usually seen thrown in with like a sus or with a Black Knight like my wife does to make everybody's life a living hell. And this team's going to be Hive Mind. So right now, Hive Mind gets some bonuses with Void Knight and Gwynnum. They're city heroes. They're also Spider-Verse. So they're going to be getting all the different buffs that you get. So you're going to get Safeguard, offense up, defense up, and depending on where they are, 30% to their primary stats, 15% barrier, another offense up, plus the other team's getting offense down and maybe, to disrupt and stuff like that. This could be nasty. I mean, it depends. I mean, you won't want to take Venom off and put somebody that's a little bit more stable in there. I do get that. A lot of people do that. But just as a standard team starting off, you don't have Sus, you don't have Black Knight, you're pretty new into the game. You can farm these characters pretty easily now with Red Goblin just now going to a store. So they're all fountainable, and that's their word. And so you can put them on defense and you can maybe get a couple wins out of this. I have Striker on Venom and Gwynnum. And the reason for that is just because it does bleed damage and it's massive damage. And Venom, if you get him to repeat the attack a couple of times, he builds speed bar and he just starts going. And it's really obnoxious. That's fun. Raider on the other 3, just because they already do what they're supposed to do as the characters. So why not give them more crit damage? Red Goblin is, I think, the number 2 damage dealer in the game right now behind Mephisto. And so he does huge damage when he's leveled up. So why not give him crit damage on top of that? I mean, make more, right? And then Carnage, he hits with some chaining and some adjacent attacks with his tendrils. So being able to put vulnerable on different people is always nice. So you got 3 people that basically open up with a chaining attack that are raiders. Gwynnum also opens up with an AoE, but having Striker on her, it just seems right. It's just one of those things that seem right. And then Venom, yes, opens up with his ability block and things like that. Actually, he opens up with his ult, so he's spreading. But if you get him to take multiple turns, and since he is the slowest one on the team, he speeds himself up and he just does dirty things by flipping buffs into debuffs. And so that could be a problem for somebody. So now Vandy's looking at this and seeing the war season rules. And if you've watched one of our videos before, you know that he has a certain team that he loves. And seeing that these guys get safeguard put on them because they're the fact that they're Spider-Verse allies. Vandy, what team are you going to use to beat this team?
War Dogs all day, every day. But here's the thing, for those earlier players too, why this is a good defense is not many players you're going against in war have a War Dogs built the way mine are. They are very heavy, expensive on the T4s. So, but for me, I'm going into this all day, every day with my War Dogs. I'm stealing that safeguard and immunity. Also, that immunity means I can use the special from my Okoye in the opening instead of focusing the ult on Void Knight. Because Gwenum and Void Knight both have immunity now, I'm going to do the special and they're both going to get rewound. Then I can go and kill the Red Goblin after it. I think this actually becomes an easier fight for anybody with the leveled War Dogs. But for those of us with the leveled War Dogs, we never see a straight Hive Mind anymore, so probably looking at Photon Force.
Well, Photon does the amount of damage as she did before.
Honestly, I didn't need her for the damage. I needed her for the blinds and the ability energy.
But it was so nice that ult went off and the whole team went away. That was so nice to have.
Well, yeah, but for me, my A-Force was already built. Because after their second rework, they've been reworked like 4 times now. After their second one, they've been viable in war for quite a while, but on the low.
Yeah.
Nobody really talked about it. We always break apart Secret Defenders now because they're just better enhancing other teams instead of just being the one team.
Hearthlight, Ghost Reader,
Photon Force is going to be the one that more people are able to do in order to counter this or not any variant, because Sus will throw that out the window, or APOC, but that goes for any team. Anywho. Yeah, it's War Dogs or P-Force all day, every day.
And War Dogs are an early farmable team for people, same with P-Force. So, I mean, both are viable, and if you see a couple, then use one on either.
Yeah. And this Photon Force takes a lot less T-Force.
This is true. It's true. Although that healing by a couple of them and stuff, it's nice.
Fantastic.
It's great to have, and it makes them. It makes them into a top 5 war team. Without the T4s,
they're still good though.
They're good, but
unlike War Dogs, without the T4s, they just don't work.
They just don't work. Yeah. Some of the newer teams we're seeing now, you don't even need a lot of T4s. They're just already they're at top of the chart. So
I'm gonna go knock on my wooden desk for that one.
But yeah, it's with T4s being limited now, thank goodness, right? But the more T4s in a team, of course, the better they're going to get. Unless you're Nick Fury. Then putting a T4 when you had to run Secret Avengers actually took away from the team. So that was an interesting one. People are actually wanting it back. But now we're fine because Nick Fury is no longer on that team. He's not really on a team. So, we're okay. But yeah, War Dogs number 1, P4 number 2. Remember, your Photon's not going to be as strong, but still going to be a great team to be able to use on for offense. So, yeah, War Dogs. You got to bring up your War Dogs.
So now that she's not hitting like a tank, guaranteed Raider for Photon. So that way, your city characters can really shine because Spider-Woman's going to hit like a Mack truck now.
Well, it's not on offense. It's only on defense that she gets the abilities. They took all...
Is it just on defense?
Yeah, they took all the offense stuff away.
So, that's unfortunate, but she still hits hard.
Yeah, she does hit hard. Yeah, level Spider-Woman up. She's crazy.
So, throw that Raider back on Photon for that team, and they're going to do a lot for you on offense.
Oh, yeah. All right, next team. Here we go. All right, we just got 2 more to go on this defense, so we're going to go over some other fun stuff. So this one character on this defensive team is going to get a boost, and it's going to make some things maybe not work, maybe work. we'll have to see once that first war hits and see how much we're able to punch up. Because we might have to add APOC into this, and that team is going to be Infestation. So Infestation with Big Time Spider-Man is a Spider-Verse hero. So he is going to get Safeguard, which is huge, offense up and defense up, as well as the other boosts, depending on where he is in the room. So that Safeguard is going to stop a few teams from being able to flip those buffs right off the bat and then triple tap into him to make him, void and no longer in this team, and then to take off the rest of the assists. That some people like to use Echo. I don't know why. I just use straight secondary 6, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, it's no longer going to have that, so it's going to be a little tougher, I think, to be able to beat. I know my ISOs are a little strange compared to other people, but this is what I like to do, and it's from the days of when I used to use Swarm with Doc 6, and that's having him as a striker just because he does huge damage. I understand that Raider makes a lot of sense because he does that opening AoE, but I just want to keep him a striker. I don't want to put no more ISO into a dude that I'm sitting on defense to use nowhere else. I have Skirmisher on Black Widow and on Ant-Man for the focus. Black Widow is going to put a stun. Ant-Man's putting slows, so I like the focus to be a little higher. Your Yellow Jacket is a striker. He does massive damage, and if he takes somebody out that first turn, he's going to repeat that attack again, plus the counterattacks. So it's crazy. And then if I can get Big Time Spider-Man to actually get a turn because they didn't use the right counter, then him as a Raider is going to put vulnerable on everybody anyways. So it's a pretty good team. It's fun to have on defense, and for the newer players that are getting teams, you're able to farm these pretty, early. So I think Black Widow's on a really early node. They moved Yellow Jacket now to an early node. Ant-Man's in a Blitz store. Swarm's in a store. Big Time Spider-Man is pretty easily accessible now to unlock. To level up, not so much, but at least unlock. So, Vandy, if you're going against this with the War Room buffs in mind, what are you using?
Honestly, until it's live in War and I can see what it does, this one's up in the air for me. I'm going to try my secondary 6, but what I'm worried about is now you can't strip that immunity off of Big Time with the Lizard ult, and then Kraven, because of Safeguard, can't flip that immunity to ability block. Now he steals all your energy, and you're just sitting there trying to do basics. It's going to be bad. We might have to go back to the old APOC counter we were using.
Yeah, APOC didn't strip the Safeguard. That's definitely, and so if you use APOC on this, you don't have multiple APOCs on your team, nor do you have anybody else that doesn't get stripped Safeguard. So we'll get into another team here in a second.
And for me, that's rough because that team with APOC that I use is 3 million in power. So most infestations we run across in War are probably closer to this one here on screen, or 2 million. So it really feels bad to have to punch down that much. I know mine on defense is a little bit beefier. Mine are also all strikers with the exception of Ant-Man because of his guaranteed assists. So they're just triple tapping everywhere. I know some people suggest dropping one of the members for somebody else, then you wipe out all of their defensive war kits. Ill-advised. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they're all strikers, that Safeguard immunity that you cannot remove from Big Time now, I don't know, man. This one's going to be a bad one.
Yeah, and also, like, we're getting, like, a lot of people like to drop Yellow Jacket for Gwenum or Dormammu, and Dormammu for the revives, Gwenum for the early taunt. And the thing is we're having a new war season come up. So with that,
not only that, I've gone into one with Dormammu. The team was 4 million in strength. My 2 million secondary still killed him outright.
Yeah. Right.
Gwenum isn't going to change that either.
Not with the new war buffs.
Not with your team properly built. Yeah, if you're sitting there with Gear 12 for some of the members of the secondary 6, yeah, absolutely. But if your team is evenly built, no. Secondary 6 still going to kill it. Dormammu doesn't do much, especially with how many of them are doing permakills. Yeah.
Yeah, with Slayer doing his permakill, Kraven doing his permakill, it just kind of takes it off. And like I said, with the new war buffs coming up, you're not going to get the extra speed that she got. So she's actually going to go last out of this team, which by then you've already done what you need to do. So, all right. So on to the next tier. This is our final one for defenses. And again, this is for your basic to mid-game players that, don't have Sus and APOC and all that stuff unlocked, but you're seeing some stuff to go against. So this next one is going to be probably the hardest one to counter, I think, coming into this next season, because you're going to see even early players with this team built crazy high because they're trying to get into these higher raids, and that's going to be your Spider Society. So as much as I can't stand this team, it is one that's going to be put on defense. It's one that's going to be built up because they get all these fun defensive buffs with Safeguard, offense up, defense up, and again, depending on where they are, 30% primary stats, barrier by 15%, and offense up again. So I do have the ISO set up in this way. I have Striker on Peter, but if you see here, it's only because I'm trying to get more attacks with them with his basic to do some fun things. Noir, I have Skirmisher to put the vulnerables out easily and early so that Pavatar can get his double taps in. Gwenem is going to start off with an AoE, so Raider on her makes sense to get vulnerables out. And then I think it's Penny, the robot, right?
Yeah.
She's going to put stuns, so Skirmisher on her, make sure those land. This is just what I've been using in Raid, because I try to min-max my raid teams because I don't want to build this team, but it's going to start building, so my ISO will probably change because there's some other ways to do it. But for right now, it's what I got, because as you can see, they're only 1 million powered, and I'm doing Incursion 2.2, so it's I'm going to have to build them up eventually. It's just kind of the way that it is. So anyways, so with this team, it's going to get a lot of weird things. So do we have, other than using APOC to go into it, do we have a counter that we're going to be using for this?
I'm still going to try Gamma. I mean, and if not them, then Doc 6.
Doc 6? Okay. So even with Safeguard, offense up, defense up.
I mean, you still made the rewind. She may not get...
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I punched up a good million with Gamma last war into a Spider Society, so that was something that was easy to do. Whether or not it's going to be going forward with all these, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure with the new buffs. It's some of these teams, the dynamics really going to change, and we're not one of those privileged that have access to test servers. So I mean, we're not really going to know until it's live.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're going to get our chance because I mean, we're still. I think we're still cruising to top 50 right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're definitely going to see it.
Yeah, we're going to see it. We're going to see a lot of it, and they're going to be huge. You know what I mean? We're probably going to see 3 millions, maybe 4 millions, because they're getting those extra buffs. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 4 million powered team coming up. It's not something I want to use my mercs for money against, but it might be something that I pull somebody off, put APOC in mercs for money, and go at it with, just because we're going to have to. But I mean, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I suppose. See how many out of time we see on defense.
Yeah, it depends. We don't see a lot anymore. We did it first because it was the hot newness,
right?
But most of us are splitting out of time into a plug and play character, and then you've got a almost guaranteed new Avengers counter. So,
yeah, yep. And then APOC where it might work, but again, we're talking about without APOC, what you're going to do. And I don't know what we're going to do without APOC against these ones. We'll see. It'll be fun. it's going to be a fun new season. We're going to have a lot of teams that are going to be up there on defense that are be like, wait a second, why is this here? And I have to figure it out. But for the majority, when you're looking at teams, when you're looking at building teams on defense, you want things that are not being used on offense for you at the moment, because that's really where your strength should be. And then you're looking at when you're using an offensive counter, you want to look at 3 out of the 5. What are they? If you have a majority of the 3 out of the 5 being one specific set, that's where you're kind of looking at to do your war counters at. And as far as those teams go, what the 3 out of 5 are, I'm just going to kind of quickly go over like what I'm using for offense here, just so that people can kind of see what we're working with here. This is going to be kind of like the top, type of stuff going on. And yes, mine are underbuilt, but that's because I do punch ups all day, every day. So I don't really build my stuff up. I try to build it up to where I'm taking out about 4 million power teams, and then I stop building the team because I figured that's kind of like the max that we're going to see anyways. So with those, you can see I have Gamma. It's kind of top my list. I kind of look for things to be with Gamma. Still one of the meta teams to use on offense. This is out of time that we use for offense. Let's take out quite a few different counters. I'm not going to go over what they all are in this video, but plugging Agent Venom in for Black Knight. Black Knight is used as kind of like a plug and play. So if you really needed to take off something huge with Sus, you would put him in here. But if not, you can put Black Knight in with Doc 6 is what I call this, to take out Extreme or something like that with the Sus stuck in it. This is Apocware. Apocware takes out a lot of really good teams, and this is going to flip the safeguards. Apoc is going to be so plug and play this next season, saying huge probably city or Hero Spider-Verse teams. It's going to be crazy. Underworld is one of your top teams to be using on offense. They still surprise me with some of the teams that they can take out. I am still utterly surprised. I'm like, let's just go try it. And they win. And they win constantly. From APOC Secret Defenders to huge new warrior teams we were seeing to Hive Mind to anything with Weaver in it, Dorm. They just tend to just run roughshod over them. And now we have the new Mercs for Money. This is a fun little team to be working with now. It hasn't lost for me yet. Is it lost for you yet? And you don't even have you just got Dakin.
I just unlocked Dakin yesterday. So I mean, I haven't really gotten a chance to play with it fully. I had APOC in his spot, so I mean, of course, I haven't lost with it yet.
Right.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, it's gonna be fun though. It's definitely. I mean, I love Panda Pool.
Yeah, I know. When he comes to look in the camera,
the special where he comes up and gives you a little smooch.
Yes, it's great.
It's one of my favorite teams. I wish it would have had more variants of Deadpool, but
yeah,
here we are.
If Gwenpool would have went here instead of Dakin, I think it would have made a lot of people happy. Like, yes, Gwenpool there.
Or Lady Deathpool.
Lady Deathpool would have been fun, too. Yeah, I would say this leave Dakin for later when you do Dark Avengers.
Yeah. Legendary could have been, Deathpool's mom. Could have just run on Death.
Yeah, Death. Yeah, that'd have been funny. Yeah. Oh, with Thanos call out or something would be kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
So there we got secondary 6. This is what we use to take out Infestation before. Will it work still? We'll see. This used to take out, anywhere from 4 million down, Infestation. So pretty easy counters, pretty easy way to go. We have the new X-23 bred into the Weapon X. This is an amazing team. She works great with going against like Bifrost teams and stuff like that because they go into stealth and she just, does crazy things to them. And she doesn't care if they're in stealth or not. She still hits them. Having 2 ability blocks to start off now instead of just the 1 is awesome as well. Then we got P-Force, which, probably top 5, top 10 team. Heavy deep, not heavy T4s like some other ones, like the next team in line. So it's pretty easy to build up real quick and get it going. And next team in line is War Dogs. Great offensive team, heavy investment in T4s. And with the new way that we're doing T4s, gonna be tight. Undying with Emma and Doom is great to use. Low T4s in this team too. I mean, really, like the Gila passive is all you, and maybe the Doom ult is all you really need to have to make this team really get going. But other ones, of course, are a lot of fun, like the Zim special and stuff. But yeah, like low investment in T4s, which is kind of cool. And then, yeah, this is, everybody's kind of dream is to have sus. If you don't have them, whatever, you can plug anybody into there. You can put Doctor Strange in there. It's just not going to do the same thing. But these, if you wanted to put this on defense without King, of course, but somebody else on defense, you got City Heroes and Hardlight and Robbie. So you got some buffs going there if it's something you wanted to do. But yeah, this is a great team and kind of a go-to for me if I need to do a big punch up on something that doesn't have Black Knight. I could put Black Knight instead of Hardlight in here too, and it does crazy thing because he's a hero, she's a hero, so it doesn't change the equation for sus. And then I got new Warriors now on offense, or not new Warriors, new Avengers. Something new. I'm finding fun things for it to take out. It took out Spider Society, probably not anymore, but it did. It takes out Extreme, on a punch across, which is kind of cool because that's our team to beat. So I'm finding some fun stuff to play with it. So it's new to me, but it's fun to try out new things too. It was just stick it on defense and call it good. Cabal Eternals is one we talked about before. If you have those Cabal leveled up with those T4s to make them assist, oh my gosh, once the ball gets rolling, and Eternals make sure that ball gets rolling because they reduce the speed bar on the other team, and then you can just start going with Cabal, and it just gets nuts once they start going. So, and then, yeah, there's the defense teams under that. So, yeah, that's what we got for you for the new season rules. And here they are on the screen so you can look at them again. Thank you for the infographic again to the wife. Getting this all put together. Remember those mercs for money? Once you get them built up, they're going to be doing double attacks when they hit bleeds. So it's going to be kind of crazy. Like they're going to be doing some fun stuff. And if you maybe do some big punch ups, send me a screenshot of it. I'd like to see what all they can do if you have some fun things on what they did and who they took out. Anything else to add to this, Mr. Vanderpants?
No, they pretty much covered it for the average, everyday player.
Yeah. And we're seeing a lot of these on offense as well. We're using a lot of these in top 50, where we're sitting. So some of the defenses, of course, are a little different. We add some other people in, but we have the APOCs and the susses and, stuff like that to be able to add in, whereas other people might not. So it's one of the joys of being, a later game player and been around for a while to be able to accumulate these tunes and also level up a bunch that we have too. A lot of people might not have leveled up, only going for the main stuff. So that's why teams like New Warriors, Spider Society, Extreme X-Men, Pegasus are like super important and early, to build kind of characters. So that way the early game players get a jump on raids, and putting them in a war is a nice place to have them on defense to help out your team, and then still using offensive counters to be able to get the points for your team. So yeah, dude. Well, I appreciate it, Vandy, you stick around doing the video with us, and thank you for those in chat. They were kind of giving us some hints and tips. And for all you players that are, beginner to mid, if you want to put some stuff down on defense, these are just 10 easy teams you can throw out there that are going to get you possibly some wins, but at least make it so you're not wasting stuff that you'd use on offense, and being able to go in and get your business done, get your 10 to 14 attacks every war, 10 to 14 every war. I don't care what alliance you're in, get it done. So with that, I'm Viz, this is Vandy, and please like and subscribe, and until next time. Peace.